Growing up on the ranch, when I still lived there before I went to school, my parents were in college full-time and working full-time jobs, so they'd leave me with my dad's parents, and I just kind of had my run of the ranch. So all of my animals were my buddies, and I went fishing and, you know, trying to trap beavers and all kinds of like crazy little Indian boy things to do, you know what I mean? I was riding the milk cow and, you know, chasing the chickens, and I was just off on my own all day, every day, until I think I started school when I was 6. So I was very used to being alone, and there was no neighbors or kids around for 26 miles.
Oh, wow.
So I was always alone. I didn't even know that there was other kids that existed out in the world. I mean, I heard about these other kids, but I didn't know where they were. And so when I did start school, I didn't fit in at all because I was like overwhelmed by the city, the big city, Pueblo, Colorado. It's not a big city. And just never really fit in. You know, it was a whole nother world to me. I felt like I grew up in the 1800s, and then, you know, all of a sudden I'm in the big city, and it felt like the Big Apple to me. But I'm just always to this day, I'm very comfortable by myself. I prefer to be alone. And I've always worked out and trained in weights, and I had an old boyfriend that was into bodybuilding, so I did the whole chicken and broccoli thing, and let's go pump some iron, that kind of workout. And all it did was make my butt bigger, and, you know, my muscles were there too, but I was like, it's just not for me. I don't want to look like a bodybuilder. So I talked to John, and he's like, you should come check out the gym sometime. Started telling me all about jiu-jitsu, and I had no clue. And I went, and of course Skipper Kelp was there. He was doing the boxing program. And I mean, it was so basic. I was so brand new. They had to teach me how to jump rope right. You know, so I started there. Then it was how to wrap your hands, how to hit the bag, which I'm still learning. No, I'm just kidding. And I was just intrigued. There's a whole new world for me. So that was long before Randy came along. You know, I did it just for fitness, just to stay in shape. I wanted a different body. I didn't want that bodybuilding look. I didn't want that too manly of a look. I wanted more for performance, not aesthetics. But yeah, I had no idea until I met Gina Carano. I actually watched one of her fights before I met her. And then when she started at our gym at Extreme Couture, I was in there training just for fun. And then I watched her and the intensity she had, and going with all the pros and being the only girl, I'm like, I gotta step it up a notch and get in there, give her another body to, #1, practice with. And she inspired me, you know, she lit a fire under me, because I'm like, wow, girls can do this too. She's like, yeah, I wish there was more girls doing it. I'm like, well, sign me up. You know, where do I sign? Yes, and I think my biggest problem over the last few years is there was probably some fights that I shouldn't have been taking that I took anyway. And even though it wasn't anything in the fight particularly that hurt me, the fact that I went into these fights hurt. It only, the pressure and all of the stuff going on throughout the fight, even though it wasn't any one thing, it was compounding the problem. You know, and now I'm having to sit out for months. I fought a couple months ago, and I'm probably going to be out anywhere from 6 to 8 months, the doctor said, because my back is fractured and I've got all these things going on with my neck. And it's just over time, you know, I never stopped and let them heal. Now they've kind of all added up, and I was running my own camps and running, you know, the whole fight camp and picking my own fights for the last few years now. So I didn't have anybody telling me anything. I was just going to keep going. It didn't matter. Nothing was stopping me. So I'm paying for it now, physically. Definitely not a financial thing, because guys don't make a lot of money in the sport yet, and girls make even a pinch of what the guys are making, so it definitely does not pay the bills. No, you know, I'm the only one that really knows my whole story, and, you know, I am a perfectionist, and when I set out on this journey and I dedicated myself to, okay, I am going to be a pro fighter, I don't really care what anybody else thinks, but I'm not happy with my record right now. I'm not happy with the decisions that I've made as far as camps or how I did things leading into it. Unfortunately, a lot of other people have different options. I was kind of thrown into the scene thrown at the wolves because of the last name. In my first smoker fight, I think I'm the only person that's had their first smoker fight on national television. It never got easier from there, it only got harder. Would I change anything? No. You know, I was set down this path for a reason, and I'm trying to figure that out. And every time I get in there, I learn so much. And that, you know, I've had plenty of opportunities to fight easy girls or hard girls. I always pick the hard girls because it excites me, #1. I want to get in there with the best because I know I'm going to walk away learning, learning a lot about myself. You know, they always say, you know, lock yourself in a cage, you know, and you're in a fight, that's the most that you'll ever find out about yourself and build your character. And I love it. That's what I'm addicted to, is figuring myself out. And I've had a fight, one of my first Strike Force fights, where I just went and smashed the girl, and I won, and I wasn't very happy. I was very unfulfilled and unsatisfied at the end of the night. And I was like, God, I did all that work, and for what? You know, it was a very empty feeling. I love the Carrie Vera fights and the Kim Rose fights, where I'm in a war and you can't even move the next day and stuff's broke and you've got hospital bills all the time. You're like, yeah, I worked that hard for that moment, and that was crazy and wild, and then you go back to the drawing board. That excites me.